Did you know a Celtic queen once burned 3 Roman cities to the ground and killed 70,000 people in revenge? Boudica ruled the Iceni tribe peacefully alongside her husband in ancient Britain. But when he died in 60 AD, the Romans decided to seize everything. They flogged Boudica publicly and assaulted her 2 daughters, treating the royal family like common criminals. The proud queen had seen enough of Roman cruelty. She united dozens of British tribes under one banner, something that had never happened before. Her army swept across the land like a hurricane of vengeance. In Colchester, they burned every building and tortured Roman settlers in the streets. London fell next, then St. Albans, each city reduced to ash and bone. Her warriors flayed Romans alive and left their bodies hanging as warnings. But Rome struck back with disciplined legions, crushing her massive army in one decisive battle. Rather than face capture, Boudica chose poison. Her rebellion failed, but her fury shook the entire Roman Empire. Did you know that one of history's most advanced civilizations completely vanished from all written records for 4 centuries? The Khmer Empire ruled over 1 million people and built the magnificent Angkor Wat. This wasn't just any temple. It was the largest religious monument ever constructed, covering over 400 acres. The empire controlled vast trade routes across Southeast Asia for 600 years. Then around 1431, something happened. The empire didn't just fall, it disappeared entirely. No chronicles, no mentions in neighboring countries' records, nothing. For 400 years, the world forgot this massive civilization ever existed. Meanwhile, Angkor Wat sat hidden in dense jungle, slowly being consumed by massive tree roots. French explorer Henri Mouhot stumbled upon the ruins in 1860, completely by accident. He found intricate stone carvings, advanced hydraulic systems, and temples that defied belief. An empire of over 1 million people had been erased from human memory. To this day, historians still debate what catastrophe could make an entire civilization vanish from history. What if Joan of Arc had escaped capture at Compiègne in 1430? The 19-year-old peasant girl who claimed divine visions had already lifted the siege of Orléans and crowned the Dauphin king. But instead of being sold to the English, imagine she slipped away in the chaos of battle. With Joan still alive, French morale would have soared while English confidence crumbled. Her continued leadership could have unified the fractured French nobility under one banner. The war that dragged on for another 23 years might have ended in just 5. Thousands of lives would have been spared from brutal sieges and devastating famines. Without prolonged warfare, military innovations like advanced cannons would have developed differently. England, facing quicker defeat, might never have developed its later naval supremacy. The religious wars that tore France apart could have been avoided entirely. Most shocking of all, European colonization would have taken a completely different path. A stronger, unified France might have dominated the New World instead of Spain and England. One escape could have rewritten 5 centuries of history. Here are 5 things you didn't know about Caligula, Rome's most insane emperor. First, he made his horse Incitatus a consul of Rome, giving it a marble stable and planning to make it the highest official in the empire. Second, he declared war on Neptune himself, ordering his soldiers to march to the beach and collect seashells as spoils of victory against the sea god. Third, he forced senators to worship him as a living deity, building temples to himself and demanding they bow before his statue every morning. Fourth, he built a temporary bridge across the entire Bay of Naples just to ride across it wearing Alexander the Great's armor, purely to defy a prophecy that said he had no more chance of becoming emperor than crossing the bay on horseback. Fifth, he planned to move Rome's capital to Egypt and rule as a pharaoh god. But after 4 years of absolute madness, his own guards assassinated him in a palace corridor. One man's insanity nearly destroyed an empire. Did you know an emperor built the most deadly tomb in history because he was terrified of dying? Qin Shi Huang unified China in 221 BCE, but his greatest fear wasn't rebellion or war. It was death itself. He sent expeditions across the empire searching for immortality elixirs, consulting alchemists and mystics. When magic failed him, he decided to build the ultimate fortress for his afterlife. For 38 years, 700,000 workers labored on his underground tomb. They carved rivers of liquid mercury designed to flow like real waterways, recreating his entire empire below ground. Crossbow traps were installed throughout the chambers, designed to automatically fire at any intruder. The tomb contained a replica of the night sky with pearls as stars. When construction finished, every worker was buried alive to protect the secrets. Ancient records seemed like fantasy until modern scientists detected mercury vapor rising from the unopened tomb. The deadly rivers are still flowing after 2,000 years. His quest for immortality failed, but his tomb remains untouched. Did you know that in the Byzantine Empire, purple dye was literally worth more than gold, and wearing it could get you executed? This wasn't just any purple. It was Tyrian purple, extracted from tiny murex shells found in the Mediterranean. To create just 1 gram of this precious dye, workers had to crush 10,000 shells by hand. The process was brutal and disgusting. They would crack open each shell, extract a small gland, and let it rot in the sun for days. The stench was so overwhelming that purple dye workshops were banned from cities. But the profit was incredible. Entire Mediterranean economies depended on these sea snails. Only the emperor could legally wear true purple. Anyone else caught in the color faced immediate death. The punishment was so severe that even wealthy nobles avoided anything close to purple. For over 1,000 years, this monopoly made the Byzantine Empire incredibly wealthy. But when Constantinople fell in 1453, the secret died with the empire. The formula vanished forever, taking one of history's most valuable trade secrets to the grave. Did you know humanity's oldest murder case was solved over 5,000 years after the crime? In September 1991, 2 German hikers spotted what looked like a modern body frozen in melting alpine ice. They thought someone had died in a recent climbing accident. But when archaeologists arrived, they made a shocking discovery. This wasn't a modern hiker. Carbon dating revealed the man was 5,300 years old. They called him Otzi the Iceman, perfectly preserved from the Copper Age. Then forensic experts found something disturbing. An arrowhead was lodged deep in his left shoulder, just below the shoulder blade. His hands showed defensive wounds from fighting off an attacker. Even more chilling, they found blood from 4 different people on his copper axe and knife. His last meal revealed he ate ibex meat and bread just hours before his violent death. This wasn't an accident. It was murder. But the story gets stranger. Several people involved in Otzi's discovery died under mysterious circumstances. Some believe the Iceman's curse claimed them too. What if Eratosthenes never calculated Earth's circumference in ancient Alexandria? In 240 BC, this brilliant mathematician used shadows and geometry to measure our planet with stunning accuracy. But without his work, navigation would have remained guesswork for centuries. Sailors couldn't calculate distances properly, keeping civilizations trapped on their continents. The age of exploration would never have happened. Columbus relied entirely on Eratosthenes' calculations for his voyage to the Americas. Without them, he never would have attempted the journey. European colonization of the New World would have been delayed by hundreds of years. Instead, Islamic and Chinese civilizations would have dominated global trade routes. The scientific revolution would have stalled without the exchange of knowledge between continents. No Renaissance, no rapid technological advancement. The entire trajectory of human civilization hinged on one man's mathematical breakthrough. A simple shadow measurement in ancient Egypt changed the course of world history. Here are 5 things you didn't know about the Oracle of Delphi. First, the oracle's famous prophecies were likely caused by hallucinogenic gas seeping from underground cracks. The Pythia had to be a virgin over 50 years old, who sat on a sacred tripod positioned directly over a mysterious chasm. Second, she never actually gave clear prophecies at all. Instead, she spoke complete nonsense while in a trance-like state, babbling incoherently as priests nearby frantically scribbled notes. Third, modern geological surveys found massive ethylene gas deposits directly beneath the temple. This gas causes intense euphoria and vivid hallucinations when inhaled. Fourth, world leaders, including Alexander the Great and multiple Roman emperors, made life-or-death military decisions based entirely on her drug-induced ravings. Fifth, this gas-powered fortune-teller influenced the ancient world for over 1,000 years until Christian emperors finally shut down the operation. A hallucinogenic oracle shaped entire civilizations. Did you know an emperor likely burned down his own city just to build a bigger palace? In 64 AD, Nero ruled Rome with dreams of creating the most magnificent palace ever built. His vision was the Domus Aurea, the Golden Palace, covering 1/3 of the entire city. But there was one problem. People already lived there. On July 18th, a fire mysteriously erupted in multiple locations across Rome simultaneously. For 6 days, flames devoured everything in their path, while Nero's men strangely blocked firefighting efforts. When the smoke cleared, 70% of Rome lay in ashes. Immediately, Nero seized the burned land and began construction of his palace, complete with a 120-foot-tall golden statue of himself. To deflect blame, he pointed fingers at a small religious group called Christians. He had them burned alive as human torches to light his garden parties. Thousands died for one man's architectural obsession. His megalomania changed the course of Christian persecution forever. Did you know the fall of the Aztec Empire began with a moment of stunning hospitality? In November 1520, Hernán Cortés marched into Tenochtitlan, one of the world's largest cities. The Spanish were amazed by what they saw. Floating gardens fed hundreds of thousands of people. Massive pyramids towered over stone causeways crossing the lake. Emperor Moctezuma welcomed them as honored guests, offering gold and shelter. But Cortés had other plans. Within days, he took Moctezuma prisoner in his own palace. For months, the Spanish occupied the heart of the empire. Then everything changed. The Aztecs had enough. They rose up, trapping the conquistadors inside the city they once admired. What followed was brutal urban warfare. Spanish soldiers were captured and sacrificed on temple steps while their comrades watched helplessly. The siege lasted months, ending only when disease and cannon fire destroyed the magnificent city. This violence became justification for Spanish conquest across the Americas. One act of hospitality led to the end of an empire. Here are 5 things you didn't know about Elagabalus, Rome's most shocking emperor. First, he married 5 different people during his reign, including 2 men in public ceremonies that scandalized the entire empire. Second, he forced Roman senators to worship a black meteorite he brought from Syria, declaring it the supreme god above all Roman traditions. Third, he held a banquet where guests were buried alive under tons of rose petals as twisted entertainment while he watched and laughed. Fourth, he conducted a mock naval battle in the Colosseum, filled with wine instead of water, all while dressed as a woman and dancing on the imperial platform. Fifth, he attempted to have himself surgically transformed into a woman by the best physicians in Rome, offering massive rewards for the impossible procedure. His reign of absolute madness lasted only 4 years before his own Praetorian Guard brutally assassinated him. He was just 18 years old. Did you know an entire advanced civilization that ruled Italy before Rome just vanished without explanation? The Etruscans built the first sewers, taught Romans engineering, and created sophisticated cities with detailed frescoes. They had gold false teeth and performed complex dental work that wouldn't be seen again for centuries. These people predicted the future by examining animal entrails and left behind elaborate tombs filled with treasures. But around 100 BC, something shocking happened. Their cities were suddenly abandoned. Their people disappeared from history. The Romans destroyed every Etruscan record they could find, erasing an entire culture. Today, we still cannot fully translate their language despite thousands of inscriptions. We know they shaped Roman civilization, gave them their engineering knowledge, and influenced their culture. Yet somehow, this advanced society that dominated Italy for centuries simply vanished. All that remains are mysterious tomb paintings and undecipherable writings, an entire civilization erased from existence, leaving only ghosts in stone. What if Martin Luther never nailed his 95 Theses to that church door in 1517? One small act of defiance that never happened could have changed everything. The Catholic Church would have continued selling indulgences unchecked, growing richer and more powerful. No Protestant Reformation means no religious wars tearing Europe apart. The 30 Years' War that killed 8 million people might never have occurred. But the consequences go much deeper. The Catholic Church would have maintained absolute control over European politics for centuries longer. Scientific progress would have crawled under strict church censorship. Galileo's ideas might have stayed buried forever. European colonization would have remained purely Catholic missions, not diverse Protestant settlements. America as we know it might never have existed. Religious tolerance and separation of church and state could have been delayed by hundreds of years. One German monk's theological protest in a small town potentially unlocked human intellectual and political freedom. Sometimes the smallest acts create the biggest revolutions.